Hello and welcome to episode 13 of The Story Pilgrim, Hyderabad, part 1. Now remember please to follow if you already are not, and please rate this podcast. It would mean so much and be much appreciated. If you could also share, that'd be great. Thank you. Now after the success and memorable visit to Mumbai, I was excited to be going back to India and Hyderabad. In the weeks running up to my trip, I had many people ask... Well, let me do the explaining actually from Hyderabad. I am here in India again. I am in Hyderabad. Now, over the last few weeks in the run-up to this trip, I would tell people where I'm going to be for New Year. It's New Year's Eve today, and I'd say Hyderabad, and I would just get met with blank looks. I don't think I met one person that knew where it was, which is quite interesting, isn't it? There is a Hyderabad in Pakistan, but I'm in the Hyderabad in India. I knew about Hyderabad because when I was living in Chicago, I would meet a lot of Indians that were working in Chicago within the IT world, the software world, and they were mainly from Hyderabad or Bangalore. It's a major centre for the technology industry here, and you can feel that as we arrived here and we took the bus to the hotel. You could feel the real difference between here and Mumbai. One thing, I saw a lot of cows just wandering around the street, but it also feels like there's a little bit more money here. Even though Mumbai has a lot of billionaires, there was a lot of poverty as well. And I'm not saying that is not here as well, but it feels like it's a much more modern city, and it feels like it's a much flatter city. Although there's lots of billboards depicting high-rises as we drove in, a lot of construction underway, a lot of buildings that you kind of looked at and thought, is that under construction or is it just old and derelict? It's quite interesting. It's historic sites. They have Golconda Fort, which I am going to head off to in about half an hour or so. It's the former diamond trading centre. It's got a 16th century mosque, the Charminar. Has 4 arches supporting towering minarets, and it's got the old city as well. There's a big lake here as well. So I'm going to head out and have a little tour around. And it's going to be quick because I'm only here for a day. And it's New Year's Eve. So I'm going to be here over New Year, but I'm flying back very early in the morning. So probably won't be celebrating that. Not that I celebrate New Year's Eve anyway. So yeah, just excited to see another bit of India. So there you have it. I said it was going to be quick. A quick trip, but a packed day. So much so that I've had to spread it over 2 episodes. I hired a guide, Naja. You're going to hear a lot from him. I hope you can keep up. Strap yourself in. First stop, Golconda Fort. Thank you.
I welcome you to Golconda Fort. Right now we are standing in front of Golconda. It is a hill fort in southern part of India, located in the city of Hyderabad nowadays. The fort that we see nowadays was built by the Islamic rulers, Qutb Shahi kings, in 16th century. But the original fort belongs to 12th century. 12th century, ruled by one of the prominent South Indian kingdom known as Kakatiyas. Kakatiyas ruled in between 10th century and up to first quarter of 14th century. They built this fort as a frontier garrison to protect their kingdom from the attacks from this side on the top of the hill. In 1143 they built it in the mid 12th century.
Right.
At that time the hill was known as Golconda.
Okay.
Golla means in the local language shepherd community who graze their sheep and and goats.
Yeah.
So they used to bring their flocks of sheep for grazing on the top of the hill in the forest area. That's why the hill became gradually, and it was called by the local people as Golconda, which in Telugu means shepherd's hill.
Okay.
Golconda means shepherd's hill.
Yeah.
So that Golconda gradually became Golconda, Golconda.
Right.
That is one version. And if you see the Golconda from the top, it looks round in shape. Round means gold. That's why it is also known as Golconda. That Hindu kingdom, Kakatiya kingdom, their capital is Warangal nowadays, which was known as Orugallu during that time. That is about 150 kilometers from here.
Okay.
So that kingdom was attacked by Islamic invaders of northern part of India a couple of times in the first quarter of the 14th century. Then finally it was conquered and destroyed by Islamic armies in 1323.
Right.
Because of that, this hill fort, which was a mud fort, also became one of the provinces of the Islamic rulers of northern part of India. But in the meantime, the local chieftains after 1323, about 40 people, united together and they threw away the Islamic rulers. They ruled for 40 years approximately, but because of so many rulers, there were differences among them.
Yeah.
Finally, they lost these territories once again to Islamic rulers.
Right.
Then, the first independent Islamic kingdom of South India was founded in 1347 by one Islamic governor of South India known as Alauddin Hassan Gangu Bahmani in 1347.
Okay.
So they ruled first for about 3 years from a fort called Daulatabad Fort. Then they shifted their capital to a fort known as Gulbarga Fort or Kalaburgi Fort. Okay. That Kalaburgi is about 270 kilometers from here. Then they shifted their capital once again to Bidar, which is about 130 kilometers west of Hyderabad.
Okay.
So totally that independent Islamic kingdom of South India known as Bahmani Kingdom ruled this South India for about 180 years.
Wow.
180 years
Yeah.
with 18 rulers.
Right. Okay.
Then initially when they came to southern part of India, the Islamic rulers, along with them many Muslims came. So they settled here and they became locals over a period of time. They were known as Deccani Muslims. Deccan is an English form of Dakshin, which means south.
Okay.
Then these Islamic rulers, they also brought elite family members of the Islamic community from the countries like Persia, Turkey, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
They served as ministers, commanders, officers, etc. They are known as Afakis. Afaki means foreigner.
Okay.
So there was a constant conflict in between these Deccani Muslims and Afakis.
Yeah.
And that finally led to the downfall of the Bahmani kingdom, which is the first independent kingdom of South India.
Right. Okay.
Then, under the Bahmani kingdom, there were 5 provinces. Those are Bidar, Berar, Bijapur, Ahmednagar, and Golconda. This is Golconda.
It's Golconda. Yeah.
The governor who was serving here by 1518, after the death of the 14th Bahmani Shah, Mahmud Shah, he became independent. He became independent and he wanted to make Golconda as his capital and he wanted to rule from here because there is no other place in the kingdom from where he can protect the kingdom.
So did all the material come from local?
Come from the local area. These stones have been brought from the surrounding areas within a radius of 5 to 10 kilometers. All these are available very easily.
Okay.
They use a lime mortar, stucco as a binding material like cement.
Yeah.
And they also plastered the walls with the stucco Stucco is a mix of lime, mortar, egg yolk, jaggery, coir, etc.
Okay.
Once if it is dried in the sun, it will last forever, maybe 400 years or 500 years.
Wow.
But the life of cement is just 60 to 80 years, I think.
Yeah.
So those projections on the wall are known as matriculations, which have got holes inside, and they can the soldiers they can stay the other side by protecting themselves from the attack of the enemies.
Yeah.
They can use their muskets and small cannons, bows and arrows from there.
This fort is mesmerizing. There is so much to it, so much to see. It's a perfect fort for defense. I'm already sucked into hearing as much information, history as Naja can offer, and he's got a lot to offer. I asked Naja about the country of India, as Naja was talking about a lot of different regions.
Okay, but for India, for outsiders, because there is a river called as Indus. Indus. So when people started invading on India from the Persia and Turkey, so they have to cross the mountains.
Yeah.
Mountains, Hindu-Kush mountains, and they have to enter in India by crossing a river called Indus. The people who live beyond the Indus River are known as Indians.
Right.
So Indus are Hindi, are Hindu. So the religion also Hindu because they are the people who live beyond Indus River. Okay. So in the ancient days, it was known as India, Bharatakanda.
Okay, I've heard that. Yeah.
So in the local language, we call our country as Bharat or Bharat Desham.
Okay.
Bharat Desham means India.
Yeah.
Country as in India. And it was also known as Hindustan.
Okay.
Bharatvarsha, Bharatakanda, Bharat, Hindustan.
Hindustan.
These are the
Okay.
names. But India is a modern,
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
modern.
Is that come from within India, or is that come from outside?
No, it is from the time of the British only.
It's us, isn't it? It's the
Yes,
British.
it is. Before that, it was known as Hindustan.
Hindustan.
Hindustan. Even today, when we go to some Asian countries like Uzbekistan or Turkmenistan, etc., they call us Hindustan. Are you from Hindustan? Okay, the other name of India is Indian subcontinent. You consider it like a continent which has got even though if you see India nowadays, we have got 28 states.
28.
28 states. There are union territories, and there are 22 official languages.
Right. Wow.
And there are more than 1,650 dialects.
Wow.
Different geographical regions.
Yeah.
And even in the same language also there are different accents.
Right.
Different
Okay.
accents. So that's
Different
why.
dialects and yeah.
So you can call India as a subcontinent. It is like a continent because we are in southern part of India in the south peninsula. Southern peninsula, we are surrounded by three seas.
Yeah.
So in the east, Bay of Bengal.
Yeah.
Towards South Indian Ocean, towards West Arabian Sea, towards north of India, we have got the Himalayas as boundaries. And people could enter into India in those days as invaders from the northwestern part of India by crossing the Hindu-Kush mountains and Indus River.
Yeah. There's going in through the gateway, and it's very, very intricate. Intricate carving in there.
Iron plating.
Oh yeah, it's iron plated.
These are the spikes that prevents attacks by the elephants.
Onto the wood.
These can be moved even today. These can be, because this one is a remade one.
Right.
So it was made one.
Yeah.
But these
That
are
must
very
weigh very, very
Look
heavy.
at them.
Yeah, it's very thick. They're about 8 inches thick, these walls, these doors into the main gate. But the actual artwork, the carving into the stone is very, very intricate for a fort which has been self-defense.
So if you look at here,
Hindustan, I like that. This is a vast country with so many different cultures and subcultures. We have just entered Golconda Fort. Just through the main entrance, we came to an area that was open but had a ceiling, about 30 foot up. There were diamond shapes up there. Naja explained.
You can find a roof. The roof has got a squinch.
Yeah.
Squinch is a technical word, but we call it locally diamond cut. There are 24 diamond cuts like that.
Okay.
So at the areas like this, which have got the diamond cuts or squinches, if you make any noise below to that by clapping sound or by beating drum or something, that sound reverberates. That echo will come. So that echo can be heard within 7 feet circumference. If you stand beyond 7 feet circumference, you can just hear that clapping sound.
Just
not
clapping.
echo.
That's it.
But if someone claps from here, that sound can be heard on the top of the hill, where
Okay.
you can see one building that
Really?
is known as Darbar Hall or meeting hall. In those days, the soldiers, they used to send their send different messages
Yeah.
to the gods on the top of the hill, and different types of clapping sounds indicate different meanings at that time.
Okay. Okay.
So you can experience that.
Yeah.
This is echo.
It's cool.
But if you go beyond 7 feet, you can just hear that sound only.
Just there. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a clap. Yeah. 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 You can hear that. Yeah.
So if someone claps from here, and one can hear that clapping sound on the top of the hill.
They can hear it all the way up the top.
We are
And we're
going-
saying that's what? So that's 2 kilometers away?
No, it's just aerial distance, maybe half kilometer.
Half a kilometer up there. Oh, because it's the 3 kilometers all the way around. Yeah. Okay. So looking up at the fort, it's really very, very impressive. It's a stronghold. It's amazing. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. It's quite a huge structure. There's beautiful gardens in here. It's very, very busy. Very, very busy.
So you can see that cast iron block. It was used as a gunpowder weight in those days.
Wow.
The weight of that block is around 120 kilos.
Wow.
So in those days, as per interesting story, in those days if someone comes to get a job as a soldier or a servant, so they are supposed to lift that cast iron block up to some extent, so to prove their physical fitness.
That's right. Okay.
So that kind of system exists even today in some of the tribal communities.
Really?
Yes. If you go further south, in the Nilgiri Hills, where the British developed one hill station known as Ooty, and there is a local prominent tribe known as Toda. And if you visit those Toda temples, village temples, in front of that temple you can find one stone, a granite stone weighs around 80 to 100 kilos. A boy, youth after reaching 19 or 20 years, one day will be fixed by the village heads. So in front of all the villagers, he is supposed to lift that stone up to his shoulder.
Up to
to
his
prove
shoulder.
his physical fitness.
Okay.
Then only his parents start finding a girl to him,
Okay.
so that they'll be confident enough that their son could, support his family
Yeah.
by working.
Wow.
So
And
it's an
is that done as like a public display, or is it just?
It's a public. You can see that whenever
Yeah.
you go to Ooty, Ooty is a popular place.
Yeah.
Near to just above that botanical gardens, you can visit one village,
Right.
Toda village.
Interesting.
I'm just giving an example, but there are many such villages.
Yeah. So it's not just the fort. It's like the garden as well. It's very beautiful.
Okay,
So-
actually this one, if you look at this, there are rectangular areas with the grass
Yes.
and a stone pitched pathways, and you can find that all over here.
Yeah.
Nowadays it is known as Nagina Bagh. Nagina means diamond, Bagh means garden.
Okay.
And Qutb Shahi rulers, they introduced Persian as an official language. Persian remained as an official language until 19th century also, then it was replaced with Urdu. Nowadays Urdu is the second official language after Telugu in the Telangana state.
Okay.
So, as per the, historical books, it was a diamond trading center.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Yep.
during the Qutb Shahi time period, Golconda was world famous diamond trading center and mining center.
Okay.
Mines are located about 300 kilometers from here.
Okay.
In the Krishna River Valley region at a place called Kullur and Pidugural, etc. Those areas come in neighboring state Andhra Pradesh nowadays.
Okay.
So the Golconda, they attracted merchants from different parts of the world. They used to come from by road and also from the seaport called as Bandar. Bandar or Machilipatnam towards east, that is more than 300 kilometers from here.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it is a diamond market center. So it is also reiterated by some of the travelers during medieval time period.
Yeah.
One such traveler whose name is Domingo Fez. He has not visited this place, but we don't have an idea whether he has visited this place or not. But he has visited other place in southern part of India, which is also minerally rich and a diamond rich region.
Right. So.
His name is Domingo Fez. He visited Hampi Vijayanagara and he stayed over there as a guest of the king for about 2 years in between 1520 and 22. He said in his travelogue, he wrote that he has seen the markets where diamonds and precious stones were sold by placing them like heaps of diamonds and precious stones, like how we keep vegetables in the vegetables market.
Right.
Okay,
Wow.
so that is he's a foreigner, came from Portugal,
Yeah.
horse trader, and he has written everything. He has written about strength of the army of a king and the number of elephants and the festivals and the sacrifices of the animals and human beings at that time, and how deep those traditions and customs in the society. He also said that the Hindu people at the time of the processions by chariots in front of the temples, some ardent devotees of Shiva, they used to jump themselves to crush under the wheels of the chariot as a to reach the god. That was the belief.
Wow. Wow.
So that was written in first quarter of 16th century
Wow.
by European travelers.
Yeah.
here.
Who was witnessing it? And
Yes.
wow. That's
You have
fascinating.
other questions?
No, I got lots of. There's a lot. You're a wealth of information.
Thank you very
No,
much.
it's the strength of it, but it's just the beauty of it as well. It's
Yes.
there's even the walls and stuff. It's like
Yes. And if you look
Yeah.
at that wall, that is the first wall with 1 kilometer circumference. And
Okay.
if you look at that, they have not destroyed the existing the boulders.
Yeah.
They just left those existing boulders and they connected the boulders to make the wall.
Yeah.
That is the beauty of that.
it is.
Even nowadays towards the west of Hyderabad, we can see a lot of development. It's like a concrete jungle,
Yeah.
concrete forest. But until 1995-2000 also, when we were studying, we used to see that area as an outskirts of Hyderabad with forest and peacocks, boulders, beautiful boulders, and occasional wildlife like wild boars, etc. Wild boars,
Yeah.
then porcupines, etc. But all that area has been transformed as a
Taken over.
concrete jungle because of the development of the city.
Yeah.
And that is the first wall, and this is the second wall.
Yeah.
Just inside of the second wall, there are steps to go up to that ramp where the soldiers they can move freely to take their positions
Yeah.
when they attack on the enemies at the other side.
Yeah. So would people live in this area as well?
No. So this area inside of this second wall and up to the top of the hill, there are administrative buildings. There are horse stables, elephant stables, camel stables, soldiers barracks, and the beautiful gateways and the palaces of the kings and queens.
Sure.
And the places where they washed their clothes, Dobikana, and places where they cooked food for the royal family.
Sure.
The places where they distributed food to all the servants, soldiers, and the guards who are working inside. So all these are ruins nowadays. It's a massive fortification.
It is. But so when it was at its height, how many people would be like employed? Like how many soldiers? Like everybody inside the second wall?
I can give you a general information, but I have not read about that. It may be an exaggeration. When you read about in history book, it may not be 100% correct. It may be 75 to 80% correct, and the remaining 20 or 25% will be imagination.
Yeah.
So it is said in those days for any such a prominent kingdom, they used to have around 30,000 to 40,000 army when they invade on their enemies.
Wow.
So minimum.
Yeah.
And they used to have 300 to 400 elephants. That was written by Domingo Pais.
Wow.
And they used to import around 12,000 to 13,000 horses in a year, because the horses used to die because of the attacks by the wild animals and because of the climate.
Yeah.
Because in summer it is extremely heat.
Yeah.
And in the battle. So horses are essential commodity in those days. But before the advent of Portuguese, Arabian traders who controlled Arabian Sea, they used to supply horses to all the South Indian kingdoms. Then from the first quarter of 16th century onwards, these Portuguese people, they controlled the horse trade from the Arabian peninsula to different kingdoms of South India.
Right.
They used to pay. They used to get money in gold from the different kingdoms.
Okay. The functionality of Golconda was evident, from the sound system to the way they test their strength of their soldiers. I was loving it, being immersed within all of this. As you can probably hear, the fort was packed with tourists. People were sat around having picnics, learning, eating ice cream. I felt inspired, included and lucky. Now, we hadn't even started climbing the central part of the fort, and I was enthralled. 30 to 40,000 people living within it. 12 to 13,000 horses. Can you imagine that? Naja and I started to chat about life and found out that we had something in common.
I'm also an actor.
Are you?
Yes.
Yeah? In this...
I acted on stage, I acted on, in front of the camera for the television soap operas.
You still do that?
I just stopped it by 2014 because I'm not able to concentrate on my profession.
Sure, yeah.
So that's why I stopped it, but I have my videos and photos and many things.
That's fantastic. You have to show me some later, if you've got some. No,
that's my hobby. Earlier, but not now.
Yeah. It started off as a hobby, and then I got to a point where I was like, I think I can do this. And I'm still, look, I'm cabin crew, but I lived in Chicago from 2012 to 2020, and all I did there was theatre, just a lot of theatre. And then I moved back to England in 2020, and I've only done film and television since then.
Okay.
So, yeah. So people say to me, I should go to Mumbai and get into Bollywood.
Yeah, of course, you will get opportunities. Anyone can get opportunities, provided if they try for it. It is popularly known as Ramadas Jail.
Okay.
Ramadas Jail. So Ramadas is a title to a person who lived in 16th century. His original name is Kancharla Gopanna.
Okay.
So he is the nephew of the then Prime Minister of the kingdom. I think with the recommendation and support from his uncle, he became the Tahsildar in the kingdom, worked at a place called Nelakundapalli, 200 kilometers approximately from here. His job is to collect taxes from the farmers.
Okay.
So he collected taxes from the farmers in those days, and he saw one temple dedicated to Hindu god Rama, one of the 10 incarnations of Vishnu. It was in dilapidated condition, and he spent that money without taking permission from the king to build that temple.
Okay.
So when king came to know about that, he became very angry, and he summoned Kancharla Gopanna here and imprisoned him. That was happened in 1674.
Wow.
So he was in this prison for almost 12 years, up to 1686 approximately. So he carved those figures that you can see on the walls. Those are, some of the figures of Epic Ramayana, very popular. That saffron color was applied by the local Hindu people.
Okay.
So that people don't go there with their shoes.
Sure.
That is like a temple.
Yeah.
Then he composed many hymns in praising of the god and also in criticizing of the god.
Okay.
Why criticism? Because he built a temple.
Yeah.
He made gold ornaments to the god and goddess, but the god is not taking care of him.
Sure.
So the temple built by him is still there. Gold ornaments that he mentioned in his hymns are still there in the museum there. And this is the place where he was imprisoned for 12 years, and those are the figures.
Wow.
Marked on the wall.
Yeah.
So as per a miracle story, in 12th year, king had a dream. So in that dream, two young princes repaid the money to him that was spent by this guy for the construction of the temple. When he woke up, he saw heaps of coins by the side of the bed, as per that miracle story. When he got them counted, that money is equal to the money spent by this person. The next morning, king came here and released Kancharla Gopanna from here and said, "You are a true devotee of your God. So because of you, I could see your God in my dream with a divine radiance.
Okay.
I'm just releasing you from here. You go and live your life happily." So he lived for many years after that.
Okay.
And our Telugu film industry made a film based on the life story of that Kancharla Gopanna. And that also became very popular. This is the place where he was imprisoned, and that is the true story.
Wow.
True story.
Yeah.
And if you do something, you will pay for it.
Yeah.
So that is called as karma siddhanta in our theory, Hindu theory. That king imprisoned him for about 12 years. So after 1 year after the release of this person from here, Golconda was attacked by Emperor Aurangzeb. And Aurangzeb captured that king and imprisoned him at the Golconda Fort. He was in that prison for 14 years and he died over there. These kings built their tombs, nearly 90% during their lifetime. The tomb built by this king for him, it was remained vacant.
Right.
So that is called as karma.
Interesting. Wow. That's fascinating. Wow, yeah, that's really interesting.
So that's why in Hinduism we believe in karma. So if you do good things, good will come to you.
It'll come to you.
If you do bad things, bad will come to you.
Yeah.
That's why we don't, give trouble or criticizing someone or doing bad to someone.
Yeah.
Is not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. We're nearing the top now of the fort, and there's this little mosque. It did look like it was just the front end of it. But yeah, it's only very small, but just a monument now. But again, it's very picturesque, and again, it's one of those ones like Arundel. If you to get a child to draw a fort, this is it. But the way that it's used, the natural structure, boulders of the hill is really impressive, and the walls just literally sit on top of these boulders, and using this lime cement mix, it's very impressive. I just asked Naga what the population of Hyderabad is. It's about 11 million, and you can hear the call from the mosque, and about 2.4 million of them are Muslims here. Yeah. The Adhan, call to prayer, a reminder to come to mandatory prayer and leave worldly matters behind. Talking about leaving things behind, I feel I should leave Hyderabad for the moment. I hope you're getting a sense of this fascinating fort and city. I've still got to scale the fort, make my way out, find a taxi, and go and see some shrines. Don't miss out on the second part, it will not disappoint. Please talk about this podcast with those around you. Review it and follow us on all major social media networks out there. Just search The Story Pilgrim. Also check out our website, please. The Story Pilgrim was written and produced by Darren Hill. Original music by the amazing Anya Backer. Until next time, keep listening and buen camino.